Hey everyone, my name is Sarah and I am an art therapist.
And my name is Chelsea, and I am a creative wellness practitioner. Welcome. So, if this is your first time to the Live Hive, thank you for coming. Welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. We're happy to have you. For those of you who are new, what we're doing here is creating a community around creative expression. And this is based in the Art Hive organization that originated in Montreal some years ago. And essentially, we're just trying to create a place for everyone to be seen as an artist and to create and chat and connect. So what you can expect in the next hour that we have here together, we'll do a little bit of a check-in. So we'll offer an idea, something to think about, maybe a metaphor for you to consider as well. We'll check in with ours, and you can share yours in the chat if you like. And then we will offer a theme for some art making, and we will make art. You'll be able to see our screens. We'll make those bigger for you. We'll do some chatting. You can chat with us also in the chat. We're happy to hear from you if you have anything to contribute or just to connect with us. We'd love to hear from you. And there might be some quiet time too. We might just get a little bit lost in our process too. That always happens at least a few times in the session. But yeah, so after about 50 minutes, we'll come back. We'll do a little bit of a check-in with our bodies. And then Sarah and I will share a little bit about our art making, what we created and what the process was like for us. And we encourage you to do the same again in the chat, or if you want to join us in the website community afterwards, that would be great. We can talk more about that at the end. Yeah, so oh. All right.
Hello again.
Here I was thinking that we were going to get away with it. How did we manage to do this flawlessly so far? Okay, so I'm not sure how far we got. Did everyone catch, did you catch all of that, Sarah? My description?
I think you tuned out for me when you talked about chatting, and then that will take the last 10 minutes to explore our art and stretch, check in with our body.
Okay. Yeah, the only other thing that I think I was getting to at that point was that while this is a creative expression and therapeutic space in the way that we are holding a space for wellness, it is not therapy. So if that's what you are in search of, if that's what you are in need of, there is more, there's a description below that has more information for you there. So please check that out. There's a few different resources. Yeah, and there will be support for you if you need to connect to Sarah or I outside of this space. There's a way to do that below. So that was the only thing that I think I was getting around to, unless there's something else that I missed, Sarah, do you think?
No, I don't think so, other than, I guess, we'll just name it. Yeah, sometimes things happen and it's choppy. I don't think we mentioned at the beginning, Chelsea is in Nova Scotia. I'm in Ontario. And sometimes things can happen with our internet and we just move on. I'll also name that I have a bit of a lingering cough. So if I mute halfway through a chat, or that's why, because I don't want to cough into the mic. So yeah, I guess I'll move into a check-in. So we like to just start with a check-in. Sometimes it's a metaphor, or sometimes it's just an idea to get us moving into our art making, our creative process. So today, well, last week, we were exploring resourcing, and today we thought we would explore more into resourcing with natural materials. So my invitation was to check in with something that you're noticing outside. Maybe from a walk, or maybe something you see from your window. Maybe it's something in the park that you visit. For us, both of us, it's coming into spring, so there's lots of changes happening. And if you would like to talk those ideas into the chat, but I will invite you, Chelsea, to check in with something you're noticing in your space.
Your sound was a little bit off for me just then, and I'm not sure if it was just my Wi-Fi since it's not a great connection. But what I'm noticing, sort of in my surrounding area, is that way? Yeah. Okay. I think I got most of it. I'm so glad you asked, actually, because this is getting to be the time of day where I am, that the sun is starting to set, and the way that it comes in my window right now just leaves a really beautiful pattern of light on the wall. And it's actually a pretty dramatic like contrast outside, the way it hits the trees and the color of the sky. And yeah, so I kind of really like this time of day. And I know it's going to get later and later, but right now it's kind of the perfect time that it's getting kind of dramatic and moody out there. And I really enjoy that part of it. So, yeah.
Nice, thanks. Yeah, so as I mentioned, if anybody who is following along wants to throw their check in what they're noticing in the chat, or your favorite part of whatever season you happen to be in. For me, I think I am just really noticing all of the buds. And for a couple of weeks, it was just like the buds themselves. And today I went out and I checked them out again, and now I'm noticing they're opening up. So I have 2 lilac trees on 2 different areas, and one is opening up, and then the other one has opened up, but then there's also the beginnings of the actual flowers themselves. They look like teeny tiny little grapes. And so, yeah, I started taking some pictures with them. Yeah, so that's what I'm noticing. So many other things, but we'll just keep it at that. It's a very busy time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as far as a theme goes, you could easily just go into your art making being inspired by those ideas, whatever might have popped into your mind, or something might have come your way based on what myself or Chelsea shared. And then, as we mentioned, we're talking this month about resourcing with our art. And I think we can basically say that what we mean by resourcing is just doing what we need to do, not as in a requirement that needs to be done, as in a sensory experience of meeting a need that you have. So, for example, you might ask yourself, what do I want to do today? And perhaps that might be arranging things, maybe it's sorting materials, maybe it's touching them, maybe it's examining the different colors, maybe it's wrapping, folding. I'm just kind of throwing out a bunch of different ideas. Maybe it's experimenting with different stuff. And maybe it's not using natural materials at all. Just want to say that as well. We just kind of threw that in at the end. Or maybe it's using a combination of both of those things. Yeah. So I think that's all I have for theme ideas. Also, I'll just say you don't have to do any of that, and you can do whatever you want because this is your space to do that. Anything else you want to add on?
No, I think you nailed it there.
Yeah,
Sarah. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe I'll turn on some music for us. Hopefully, it doesn't kick out this time.
Yeah.
But if we do
Maybe.
disappear, I don't know why, and it'll be a quieter session again.
True story.
Okay, so far so good. We're still here. How's that sound for everyone? It's not too loud.
Sounds good for me.
Okay, I'm gonna switch our screens so we can see the art making bigger. What the heck? There we go. It's letting me change yours. There we go.
Yeah, I guess I'll also just mention that sometimes we need to make lots of different art. So you might start with one thing and then you might move into something totally different, and that's okay. I think that's kind of the feel I have today. I've received a couple of bouquets of flowers last week, and so some of them were just starting to wilt a little bit. So I trimmed the ones down, and I think I'm going to play around with those for right now.
How's that? Those are so beautiful.
Yeah, the colors are really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so soft. So when we're talking about resourcing, so for me right now, even when I was trimming them, I was just enjoying like just the softness and the smell of the roses. So I think I'm going to just play around with them for now.
Yeah. That's so much a part of it. You know, I feel like when we're working, especially with natural materials and any art materials, but particularly natural materials, there's a sense of like getting what you need from that material. Like I was looking for sticks today because I'm normally a rock collector, but I really wanted to wrap a stick today. And finding the right one took me the entire walk. And it was actually on my front yard the whole time. But when I picked it up, I just knew it was the one because it's got this really nice weight to it. And I was like, that's just what I need right now, this nice, solid, thick, weighty branch. So it's also a really beautiful, I think it's a special kind of birch tree that's like a golden sheen, like you can see.
Yeah, I can see the golden, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have these in Saskatchewan as far as I know. I've never seen them before I came out east here. So I am just in love with them. They've got this beautiful, beautiful bark on them. So I wrap all of it.
I also, going back to that, doing what you need to do, meeting the need, oftentimes, if I'm working within a group or with an individual, a common phrase, I don't know why, but I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually one of those, it's okay to not know why you want to do something and just do it. That's what art making is so wonderful, I think, is that you can experiment and try these things out. It's one of the things.
Yeah, the consequences are minimal. The risks are low.
Yeah, in the art making.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely like a reoccurring phrase. I don't know why, but I want to do this.
Yeah.
And I get it. I have that too. Oh, for some reason I was doing this and then I wanted to do that. And I just did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and that's a really beautiful part of it is I think we talked about this maybe last week or the week before, or maybe all the weeks, about giving yourself permission to just do that.
Mm-hmm.
To just feel that little pull. And to change your mind. It's a space. What do I need? What do I really need right now in this moment? So something I didn't expect to happen. Some of you may have noticed that my workspace just disappeared. I have timers set on my. I don't even think about the boundaries, and my limit came up, I suppose, and that's why I disappeared.
Oh,
Yeah, trying to keep that in check. Anybody else that's joining us wants to maybe share what they're noticing lately in the changing of their seasons, or wants to share what they're working with today? Or just say hi. Put that in the chat.
just want to also show, this is kind of cool. So this is that experimenting thing. So these are all little pink roses. And can you still hear me? Yeah. Okay.
Or I did.
So I've just been spinning one that I took a few petals off of, and now it kind of like looks like a, I don't know where the camera is. There. Oh, you can. That looks like a totally different flower.
Wow. Yeah.
It's just fun.
I love that. It looks more like a wild rose.
Yeah.
Oh, it's petal spot like that. I'm going to go ahead and blame Mercury retrograde for this one. I feel like it's only fair.
I guess now's a good time to mention that. Well, we don't have any big theme ideas yet for next month. So if there's anybody who has an idea or a thought about what we could offer, we would love any info. You can email us, you can send a message through social media, you can pop it in the chat for those of you who are watching now, or if you're watching the replay. Oh, this is so satisfying.
Yeah, we're open to whatever. Oh,
It's so soft.
yeah. It looks lovely.
Sorry to cut you off. I think it was a little delayed.
Today. You're done. You just need to throw that basket up over your head and just shower in all those petals.
Maybe I'll do that outside.
Yeah. Probably best. That's what I want to do as I'm looking at this.
Whew, those are smelly.
In a good way?
Still deciding. But definitely not as chatty this week, hey?
Oh, yeah. I'm so invested in this.
Yeah, that's okay. I think I'm going to pause right now, and I wanted to read a little bit from a book I just got today. What it talks about. It's called The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. I'll do a little, this is no like official sponsorship or anything. This is just, I really enjoy it so far.
Imagine being sponsored on our 4th ever
Yeah.
live stream.
Yeah. Not there yet. It's just a book I enjoy. So this is the very first chapter. And I like it because I think it really speaks about what we're trying to bring forward in that creativity is so many different things. It's not just making art that you stick on your wall. It's so many different things. And he really talks about that. So let's see where I wanted to start. Well, I think I'm probably just going to start and read to a certain spot. Okay, so he says, those who do not engage in the traditional arts might be wary of calling themselves artists. They might perceive creativity as something extraordinary or beyond their capabilities, a calling for the special few who are born with these gifts. Fortunately, this is not the case. Creativity is not a rare ability. It is not difficult to access. Creativity is a fundamental aspect of being human. It's our birthright, and it's for all of us. Creativity doesn't exclusively relate to making art. We all engage in this act on a daily basis. This is what I think we've chatted about, whether in this space or others. To create is to bring something into existence that wasn't there before. It could be a conversation, the solution to a problem, a note to a friend, the rearrangement of furniture in a room, a new route home to avoid a traffic jam. What you make doesn't have to be witnessed, recorded, sold, or encased in glass for it to be a work of art. Through the ordinary state of being, we're already creators in the most profound way, creating our experience of reality and composing the world we perceive. I will stop there so I don't end up turning this into me reading the entire book.
I enjoy that though. Awareness for you.
I don't know when you froze, or maybe you're still frozen.
I think my computer was froze, and then I froze as a person. It's like I don't think anybody can hear me.
Were you able to hear what I read?
No, I heard all of what you read, and I loved it, and I wanted to comment on it in just like my own personal experience of that. Like, I feel like that's a really common feeling for a lot of people, to have that sense of not being an artist because we're not enough of an artist. And I use finger quotes because, like, we have this idea that, like you said, you have to be, you know, a certain skill level or a certain type of artist, or, you know, you have to create a certain kind of art. And that was in my head for a really long time. And I mean, I wrote my entire capstone about it.
Yeah.
So it was a huge theme for me, and growth point for me to get it out of my head and to sort of deconstruct that idea that I have to be this ideal of an artist before I can call myself that. And it takes a lot of work, I think. Or it did in my case, you know, to get to that point. And yeah, but I think it's a really valuable journey, because when you disconnect from your creativity, you're disconnecting from a really important part of who you are and who we all are, right? So I really passionately about that, and I'm really glad that you shared that part of it, Sarah. Thank you.
You're welcome. I thought you might enjoy it.
Yeah. You said you just got that book today?
Yeah, my mom picked it up for me on the way through from my friends at a local bookstore, Furby House. Also not an endorsement, just a local bookstore. I was waiting for it to come in, so I was excited to get it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Perfect timing.
Yeah. I always, not always, but oftentimes, maybe sometimes somebody's asking me about what I do in art therapy, or they might say, oh, it sounds cool, but I could never do that. I'm not an artist. And I will often use the example, kind of like, imagine if none of us cooked because we weren't professional chefs. We still have to, you know, prepare food for ourselves, but we're not all professional chefs, bakers, but we still do
Unfortunately,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah.
It's true, right? And how do you get to be a better cook, or, you know, a more qualified, or how do you make that process more easeful for you? It's just doing it again and again and again. It's a practice, like anything else, right? And that's a really beautiful potential benefit of art therapy and just creative wellness in general, is making that a practice and gaining some sense of self mastery, understanding, you know, that we are capable of so much more than we sometimes think we are. But I do love that, Sarah, because I think you're right. Like, we hear a lot that, you know, someone can't draw a stick figure even, right? And we think that that's just coming from that sense of art having to be a certain way and art making being a certain process for gifted people. But here we are, and I'm tying wire and yarn around a stick that I found with some shells and bits and pieces of sea junk, and I'm already kind of obsessed with it. It's bringing me a lot of joy. It's making me feel really good. And if that's not art, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I've switched over to, I think this is what I did in the very first one. Maybe not, I don't know. But this was a piece that I made in one of these hives. At least I didn't finish it yet. But I have this little container of all these little bits and tiny pieces. I think I might kind of like just make a little display like thing that's not going to stay here forever, but just play around with different ideas. This way that I'm talking about like all different, like these are, I'm really good at finding the camera. I'm not. This is just a dried out end of celery that I dipped in dye to make prints with, and so I just left that in there. Got all different stuff. I've got, I don't even know what this little containery thing is, but something maybe, I have no idea. I'm going to pretend to know. And then there's some porcupine quills that my daughter found that she gave me. Some rocks, some random chunk of bark, all kinds of random stuff, little shell. So I'm just gonna arrange some stuff around and just play around with some stuff.
Yeah. I love that. The arranging is all part of the creative process too, right?
Yeah.
I love the arranging.
And I think maybe
I like to organize all my materials. So.
Yeah, sorry. I think I did a little cut off to you then. So I just want to mention that we have about 5 more minutes until we'll come together. Well, we're already together, but until we chat about our art making.
That was probably that's probably during our found object session.
I didn't catch the first part of what you were saying.
Oh, I was just saying, I think you started that during the found object session.
Right. Yes, that was, I think, the second one.
I think that, yeah. Yeah. And it's funny that you say that because I'm doing something very similar to what I did in that session as well. But you find your style, right? I think that's part of the fun of exploring and experimenting too, is like there's certain things that you're just drawn to doing repeatedly. I think we've touched on that too, like the idea of certain things being comforting, and some of those are consistently comforting enough that you find yourself doing them more and more often. And
yeah, you almost
knowing that about yourself.
This is going to be a good one to watch back.
Yeah, I'm already vowing that this one's not going to be one that I review later.
Whatever.
I believe it was cringeworthy. That's how it feels. The overlap conversation. What are you going to do?
I don't know. Keep on making art.
Keep on making art. That's right.
Anybody in the chat want to mention how painful it is to watch? I mean, there's still some of you here, so I guess it can't be
Yes,
that bad.
some of you brave souls stuck in for the ride. So thank you for being here. Unless that's also a glitch and everyone just pieced out.
It could be. It could be.
Actually, you would be here, Sarah.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
Even YouTube feels bad for us. So, sure, maybe four people are watching. Maybe that sounds reasonable. Not too sad. Okay. Coming up on our time.
Yeah.
Sarah.
Are we ready to finish up
I'm
this
just not
train wreck of a live stream?
I know I am. Ready.
The truth. Always the truth. All
Okay,
right.
I'll shut the music down. Here we go.
Sure.
All right. Ooh.
I can't remember. Did you want to go first?
Oh, it's yeah, sure. I might as well.
Okay.
Might as well. Yeah, I I think it was a really good choice. Having this like hefty stick to wrap today. I might actually change my screens so that this one is bigger, if I can do that. There we go. Because this is actually, if you can see and hear me at all. Okay.
I think there's a good delay happening right now. So I'm just going to let you chat.
Wonderful. Thank you. Oh boy. Okay. So anyway, this was a really nice choice for me today. I think I'm really still enjoying like the weight of it as I'm holding it, and I will wrap it so much more because I feel like the softness of the yarn is also something that I'm really wanting with this, especially because there's some beautiful roughness to it, and I love that. But I think I want some more softness as well. I've attached some shells that I picked up on a beach in BC when I was visiting a friend out there in the fall, and I have been wondering what the heck I'm going to do with these shells. And I think they look really cool in here. I want to get like a full 360 eventually on this. And there's this beautiful smooth, like I think it's slate from a beach around here actually. And I want to do a bunch more of these. kind of hard to see maybe, but they're just shells and sea glass, little bits that I've attached there and wrapped around. I want to do some different lengths, maybe all the way across, maybe on either side so that it can, I'm not sure how it's going to stand, if it's going to be like that or if I'm going to hang it or if it's going to just, I'm not sure. So, but I've just really enjoyed the process, and I think the wrapping always helps to keep me grounded, especially when there's technical issues, which are not my forte or my favorite, nor are they really anybody's, I'm sure. But yeah, it was really nice. So yeah, I really enjoyed working with the natural materials today.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you. I would love to hear about yours, Sarah.
Sure. So I guess I'll start with slide this. So I think what I kind of created was a little mini mandala. I put some little flower, like I weaved some of the flower ends into the basket. And yeah, not really very much depth at the moment or meaning about it. I think it was just purely, just something to do that felt good. Though I don't know that I'm a big fan of the smell. I think I'm not, now that I added these ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a very different smell. But doing this from afar is still very enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I could, just sit here. It's almost like, like the stress balls. This is like an equivalent for me. It's like letting them and peeling them off, like just peeling all the petals off was really enjoyable too.
Yeah.
So it was fun. And I really enjoyed these little teeny tiny ones at the end. They're like little mini roses after I peeled away. So I kept one of them like that because it's just super duper cute.
Yeah.
It's me of like a little mystical fairy sleeping in there or something. I don't know.
I love that image.
And then, so as I was saying, I just took this other art from before and I had my little container of all little collectibles that I had, and I just kind of arranged them in no particular order. And yeah, today was not about getting any big meaning or it's just about kind of, I think, just like the sensory and just maybe putting things down. And that's sometimes just enjoyable, just giving the thinking brain a little bit of a pause.
Yeah.
Now I will put them all back in the little jar.
Great. Thank you for sharing that, Sarah. I love that. I think like with mine too, I was really resisting the urge to glue anything down, right? So that you can kind of undo it and then redo it. And it's that idea of like rearranging and changing and impermanence sort of. I mean, nature is a good example of that in a lot of ways, isn't it? So yeah.
I think another piece, I know we're at the end, but I meant to talk about it and I had it on my little jotted down notes there. What I enjoyed when I went outside today to see if I might find anything for today, I think looking at all the buds on the trees and all the change, for me, when I go out into nature, especially after like a long winter, those things are very hopeful. And I don't think we are short on ways to, I think we are short on ways to gather hope. And I think nature is one of those places where I can always find that inspiration. So that's what I was thinking about. Yeah. So I'll just mention that too about the natural materials. So much to find out.
Yeah. 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 I think hope is one of the most important things. If we can find it anywhere, nature is a really good bet, I think. I mean, I know how much just even going for a walk changes my day, being in nature with animals and that, yeah, changes everything. And I think there was another huge delay there, so I hope we're on the same page now. And
Yep.
yeah, I
Yeah,
see my Wi-Fi signal is low. Okay. Okay, so we've got a couple minutes. Maybe I'll just, while I've got 4 bars, do the quick little wrap up for us. So yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone again for coming, for sticking it out with us through technical issues and lags and just yeah. And just showing up for yourself too, and being here for this process. And I think there's at least a few of you who have been with us in the lives consistently, and that's pretty special. And even if you haven't been able to make it live and you're watching the replays and you're connecting regularly with your creativity, that's amazing. We're so grateful to have you here. And yeah, it's just a really beautiful thing to do for yourself. So so thanks for sharing that with us. If you like what we do, in spite of the tech issues, please like this video. If you don't already subscribe, do subscribe. It's only going to get better from here. So that's right. It can only go up from here, I think. Well, I don't know. I think we're out of Mercury retrograde by the time we're back, which is May 9th. So I believe May 9th is our next one. So hopefully we're in the clear by then, at least a little bit, barring any other unforeseen events. So yeah, May 9th, join us again. We figured out how to schedule it, so you should be getting notifications if you're subscribed. Feel free to rewatch this video anytime, and share it with your friends or people that you know. Share your art in our community gallery on the website if you feel so inclined. So the link for that is below as well. Just keeping in mind that it is a public space, even though it's members only. Members can be anyone. So if you want to share your art, talk a little bit about it there. We'd love to hear about it. We'd love to see it and connect with you however we can. I saw that some people have already shared their art. Thank you for doing that. We love seeing it. And pretty soon our community gallery is just going to be whole things. Feedback, as Sarah mentioned, is welcomed in the comments and anywhere else you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. We're happy to hear from you, whatever you have to share with us. And yeah, I think that's everything. Did you catch all of that? Did it actually? Was I here for all of it?
That blipped out. I don't know how it'll come out, but yeah, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. There's also exactly the same thing, probably, or similar to it in the last video, the video before, and the video before it. So, you know, if you need anything answered, either reach out to us or check the last ones. It's all pretty consistent, I think, so far. So yeah, anyway, we're happy to hear from you however you'd like. And thank you again for coming. I think we got it all, Sarah. What do you think?
I think it's time.
It's time. It is past time. So we're going to call it a night, y'all. Thanks again, and we'll see you May 9th.
Peace.